Hey y'all, Austin here with Outer World Media. Welcome back to another monthly wrap up, guys. This time we are talking about July 2024. We are well over halfway through the year. It is that time of the year again, guys. It is Halloween season. I know I said this in my other video that I posted, but it's true, guys. It is Halloween season here in my household. If you can't tell, have the shirt and everything ready to go. We're going to start decorating for Halloween tomorrow. Never too early to decorate for Halloween, no matter what anybody says. But you know what? We're not here to talk about Halloween. We're here to talk about what I read, in the month of July, as well as my book of the month. I want to kind of throw that in and let y'all know what I enjoyed, which one, I enjoyed the most. Kind of going over the fine details of the month. I had 10 books that I wanted to try and read in the month of July. I did succeed in that. Depending on who you ask. Technically, I could have said 11, but I started one the day before the month and finished it at like 12:02 in the morning. I'd count that as reading it, in June, not July. But without any, more interruption, let's get into it, guys. Starting off with, I did read like 5 Louis L'Amour books the month of July. We start off with The Tall Stranger. This was one that I enjoyed it. I did. The Tall Stranger, kind of giving you the quick synopsis. It's about this. It's about a tall stranger. No, it's really about Rock Bannon, who stumbles upon a wagon train heading out west, and he kind of hitches a ride with them, and they try selling in an area that they shouldn't, with some people that they shouldn't have listened to and whatnot, and it's about the tall stranger coming in and saving them. This, as any Louis L'Amour book, has most of the tropes that you should expect in a Louis L'Amour book. Again, I enjoyed it. I really did. Nothing out of the ordinary for a Louis L'Amour book, and I think that's why we come, to read Louis L'Amour books. Is he has a certain cliches that we enjoy, and we're never let down with those. Next, and I'm not doing these in any particular order. I just happen to have my Louis L'Amour books up here first. Next, I read Under the Sweetwater Rim. This is about a gentleman who's in the army and ends up saving a wagon out of a wagon train from some thieves, and tries to get them to safety, and the thieves and whatnot are coming in after them, and you have the rest of the army, a troop coming in after them, trying to get the bad guys to find out where this other group's at. There's a lot of POVs, quite a few different POVs for a Louis L'Amour book in this. If you watch, again, my review, I make the comment about the bad guy in this. I really think he's probably one of the worst bad guys that I've read in a Louis L'Amour book, just for what he does to the damsel in distress at the end of the book. If you want to know more, go read the book or watch my review. But again, really enjoyed this one quite a bit. Next, I read High Lonesome. This was one about some bandits who end up robbing a bank, and they are making their getaway, and end up going. The leader of this group stumbled upon a woman a few days before the robbery, and is having the hard decision: does he chase after her in Indian territory, or does he make his escape to Mexico? I really enjoyed this one. This one had definitely some morally gray characters in it for a Louis L'Amour book. Highly recommend this. I know Kevin over at Kevin Toll picked up a couple of these books, and I can't wait to see Kevin's reaction to them. Next, guys, I read Ratigan. This was one I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the aspect of this one of the head. The head bad guy, one of the two head bad guys, is a woman. Really enjoy it. She uses her looks, her beauty, and some other stuff, if you know what I'm talking about, to try to get her way. And you have this guy who's settled in this valley, and he refuses to leave and give up his territory that he's worked so hard to keep. So him and a couple other people kind of have to band together against a group coming in and trying to push him out. I think Faceless would really enjoy this. If you haven't checked out his channel, go check out Faceless Book Reviews. Well, check out Kevin Toll Reviews. I'll link their channels, in the description. But I think Faceless would enjoy that one quite a bit. Next up was Catlow. This was one, and I am trying to think. Yes, I do remember. Sorry, I've read like 5 of these. Started kind of getting them mixed up. And not to take away saying that these were bad books or anything, but Catlow is about, you have this U.S. Marshal and this bandit who know each other. They're kind of, I wouldn't even say pals. They have a mutual respect for each other, and we kind of find out why this gentleman has been turned to become an outlaw and whatnot. A good portion of this book does take place down in Mexico, and I really enjoyed this one. I really did. Oregon is mentioned in this book, and as always, I'm going to enjoy that. With that being my home state and whatnot, always enjoy seeing that pop up. Next, guys, I read I Was a Teenage Slasher by Mr. Stephen Graham Jones. Hopefully my review is up of this before this. I'll probably make this video post tomorrow. But, kind of giving you the overview of I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones. It's about 2 teenagers in La Mesa, Texas in the 1980s. Not a damn thing to do around there. And someone or something is killing people. This is kind of like a diary entry or journal entry, confession story. Really, really, really enjoyed this. This one hit every note that I was hoping it was going to. If you watch my review, I made the comment. I went in expecting, carnage gore, carnage candy, if you will, and I absolutely fell in love with the characters in the story, and the killings became, second to the story and the character development. I really, really enjoyed that. And I'm going to move these out of the way, guys. Next is a book I read. I did not leave a review, and I'm going to kind of do a mini review on here. I said I wasn't going to, but I'm going to include it, and I'm hoping Hide and Read, and I'm going to tag his channel down below, will enjoy this. So this is for Hide and Read, because he asked, what I thought about this. I read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I don't know if I read the official version or if I read an abridged version. I think this was like 75 pages. I want to start reading more classic books. So I figured, I'll read, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's one of those I've never read, but I've heard great things about. I didn't see the hype. I really didn't. I don't see how this is considered scary. Even by olden times, I really didn't see it. I mean, and I'm not sure if maybe it was the way the author wrote this book. I didn't enjoy it. I hate to say this. I don't like to say this term by any means. I just found myself hate reading it. 30 pages in, I was like, you know what? I have 45 pages left. I'm gonna finish this. It didn't take me that long to read it, but I definitely did not enjoy that. Don't let what I'm saying, though, keep you from, reading it. I'm sure that there's a lot of people that are going to enjoy it. I was not one of them. So, again, I would highly recommend, read it. It's a classic, but it was not for me, not by any means. Again, I did not find it scary at all. Next was Louis L'Amour, or Beau L'Amour, No Traveler Returns. This book, if you watched my, monthly TBR for July, I talked about for the 4th of July, I had like 4 days off. I wanted to read a war novel. Saw this on my shelf. Louis L'Amour. Saw what I thought was a warship. Thought it was going to be a war book. It wasn't. That being said, I still enjoyed this book. I really did, This, I feel like, is, and I said it in my review, I feel like this is Louis L'Amour's darkest book that I've read so far as characters and what the characters do in it. Evil acts and whatnot, terrible things. I know that Beau L'Amour probably wrote a good portion of this, or changed things, or wrote most of it. I know Dustin over at Dustin Neely. He did some research behind this book and kind of told me, hey, looks like Bo mostly wrote this and whatnot. And I appreciate Dustin letting me know, because I was kind of wondering how, I've read as many Lou L'Amour books as I have, and I never come across anything like that. That being said, though, this was still a good book. We definitely do a deep dive character study into the people that work on this merchant ship, this vessel, and whatnot, kind of how they came to be on this ship and how they're all intertwined together and whatnot. Really enjoyed this one. If you're a Louis L'Amour fan and want something a little edgier, I would recommend this one. I looked the other day to see if you're still able to get it. It looks like you are on like Amazon, so I would definitely recommend pick this up. Again, I enjoyed it. Next, the last book, of course, that I read for July was Craig Johnson's Longmire Mystery, An Obvious Fact. I don't even think I have a review up on the channel for this. I don't. So I'm going to kind of give you a mini review before I post my long, full review. An Obvious Fact, this one, takes place up in, where was it? I just read this book the other day. Sturgis. Sorry, I don't know why I was drawn blank. The Sturgis motorcycle rally and whatnot. Walt and Henry end up coming up there to help, figure out attempted murder and whatnot, a possible accident with a motorcycle and whatnot. I really enjoyed this one. Was not my favorite of the Longmire books by any means, but I still enjoyed it. I got to see Walt and Henry and got to see them interact, and it got me, got us out of Absaroka County, which is what I talked about, to Craig Johnson, asking if there's any other books in the later books in the series, where we go outside, and he didn't really say yes or no. And I think he was wanting me to get to, something like this. It's nice to see Walt and Henry out of their element and whatnot. There is a character who we've never met, but is very, very pivotal to the Longmire series, and we haven't met them yet. And as soon as you come across in the book, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. But again, An Obvious Fact by Mr. Craig Johnson. Really, and I enjoyed this book. So again, guys, that's all 10 books. Without giving you what my favorite book of the month was, I'm gonna take a sip of coffee first, because even though it's 7 o'clock at night, I still need coffee, guys. I haven't had any today. Kind of going over some statistical facts real quick. The amount of pages that I read, for this last month in July. Sorry, guys, my nose is itchy. I read 2,122 pages. I know to some that may not seem like a lot. To me, that seems like a lot of pages. I don't feel like I read that much. Sorry, guys. I don't know why, but my nose is itchy. It's allergies, I'm thinking. But again, that was quite a few, pages for me to have read. Kind of getting into real quick, what my favorite book of the month was. I don't think it's going to come to a surprise to anybody that my favorite book of the month was I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones. Again, this book exceeded my expectations. I absolutely love this book. I could really see this book being a contender of Book of the Year. I'm not even going to lie, guys. Any books that come out that I read after this are going to have to jump a pretty high bar to beat this book. This is one I really can't recommend this book enough. Go out, pick it up, There's a couple guys that I want to get them to read this, and I feel like I'm going to have to buy it for them to read it, and I'm almost tempted to do it just so they'll read it, because how much I love this book. Kind of going in some more statistical facts and whatnot of, the channel. I generally don't do this, but I figure, might as well throw it in the monthly wrap up. In the last month, the channel's gained 15 subscribers. That's awesome. I really do appreciate it. I really didn't expect to get this high of a number of people, to follow the channel and watch it, or at least listen to me ramble on about books. So I do appreciate everybody that's subscribed in the last, month. If you're a new subscriber, drop in the comments below and let me know, and I want to tell you thank you. If you've been a subscriber for a long time, drop in the comments below as well and whatnot, and I'll tell you thank you. I really do appreciate every single one of you guys that stops by, watches the channel and whatnot, and kind of keeps up with my reading habits and my rambling and whatnot. But again, guys, without getting too sentimental, again, I just want to thank you. But again, guys, 10 books for the month of July. I met my goal, which is what I wanted. Got a couple new books in the mail and whatnot, so I'm going to have to do that. This will be on that video and that list. But again, guys, that is the monthly wrap up for July. Again, 10 books, 2,122 pages, up 15 subscribers in the last month. Favorite book of the month, again, was I Was a Teenage Slasher. But as always, guys, thank you for stopping by and watching the video. Y'all have a good one.